And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you took that moment to take a bit of a breather, have some reprieve here as we're going straight back into another series. We just wrapped up with Mario vs. Showtime, and now we're here with Serral vs. GuMiho. I mentioned it earlier, but this is a rematch of the ESL Masters Summer Grand Finals of DreamHack Yongshaping, where they both faced off in the finals in an insane series. Of course, Serral did come out on top, but he did bleed. Bear that in mind. GuMiho did take maps, did make Serral work for it, which means in a best of 3, it could happen again. GuMiho, he could try to break the record here of Serral. Serral has been looking flawless. He hasn't dropped a single map, let alone a series, but a single map here in the group stage. Can he go for the flawless victory? Can he go without dropping anything? Or will GuMiho stop him here and now? We're here to find out. We are here to find out. As we're loading in, you can see the videos on the screen. You can see the players are ready as well. GuMiho in space, high as a kite, with all those liberators. That now it makes sense. How he comes up with all those builds. There's not a lot of oxygen up there, but you know what? He lives, he thrives in the atmosphere. And here we go. We are loading on into game number 1 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon. We have the South Korean Terran player, currently teamless, but the ESL Masters Summer runner-up. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Team Basilisk, the ESL Masters Summer champion, the number 1 placed player in this group. It is Serral. Comfortably sitting at the top of Group A, not dropping a series, not dropping a map, going for a pool first opener here. Very interesting from Serral. Very safe opener from our Zerg player. Maybe a little bit paranoid, and I don't blame him. GuMiho can be very aggressive. He can be wild. He can be crazy. He's insane. And Serral knows that. He's experienced that firsthand. Oh boy. Serral going for the pool into that hatchery. So again, this isn't aggressive by any means. This does grant access to faster lings and faster queens to Serral. He's droning, he's not banking up larva. So again, just a very safe opener. This will give Serral the advantage if GuMiho had gone for a proxy Rax. If he went for a proxy 2 Rax or proxy 3 Rax, anything aggressive in the early game, then Serral will be able to shut it down. So again, just very safe play out of Serral. Not very economic. So he's going to be falling a little bit behind economically, in favor of just having a safe and secure mind. And body. And soul. As across the map, GuMiho is going for a Rax expand. He's not going for the low ground 2 Rax. Not going to be adopting the play of Bjorn because GuMiho, he does go for his own play instead. That's just the way he is. He walks his own path. Doesn't follow anyone else, and sometimes he walks that path off a cliff. You know, so sometimes it leads him astray, but other times he finds success. And we were talking about that earlier when we saw GuMiho against Trigger, when we saw him in his TVPs, and we can say the same about his TVZ as well. That's what makes him such an entertaining player, such a treat to watch. Love to see it. So now he's just going for a bit of an SCV scout. Kept his Marines back at home as well. And he does confirm that we have a 3rd base on the way, so he's aware that Serral isn't going for a 2-base all-in, which is important. We mentioned this last night, maybe earlier today, but Serral, even though for a very long time, he had this kind of personality, this aura of like he only plays macro, you know, perfect macro play, very innovation-esque. He's a machine, he is an AI. He does only what is standard and nothing else. But in recent years, he has been breaking that mold. He's been breaking that perception of himself. And we have been seeing a lot more variety in his play. Sometimes some all-in, sometimes some quirky compositions, some big timing attacks. And Serral has become a more dangerous opponent as a result. Speaking of danger, GuMiho is not going for a 3rd CC. This is a very committed build here from GuMiho, delaying his 3rd in favor of a faster starport. a 1-1-1. So aggression going to be coming out from the Terran as he delays his third CC even further, throwing down 2 more Raxes. This is the beginnings of a 2-base all-in. He could still eventually throw down a third, but his third is insanely late. Oh boy. So Serral clearly had a good reason to go for a pull first earlier. Like, GuMiho is crazy like that. we don't get to see 2-base all-ins too often in this matchup, as Serral is going for a safety Roach Warren. A good call, and Roaches are going to be amazing here in the early to mid game. Not just Roaches, but Ravagers as well. Meanwhile, the first Liberator is going to be moving out across the map. It's going to be headed towards the main base here of Serral. We do have the Hellion as well, just sharking around, going to be delaying some of the creep, looking for map control, looking for a 4th base, as Serral is headed straight into that lair. Back at home, GuMiho just building up his forces, only using the factory just for add-ons, so because of that, he's going to have an abundance of Marines. Lings are going to confirm the lack of CC on the low ground. We may even pull the boys. I'll be honest. This is looking... There's also only 1 E-base, so we're only getting 1 upgrade. We're not going to have, like, a 2-2 timing or anything later on. This is crazy. It's actually pretty insane. Across the map, Serral, he's just droning, taking his gases, getting his 4th base. Hopefully he doesn't drone too much. Right now, he's just doing nothing but making workers, and that may just kill him. That honestly may be his downfall. If he drones up more than 66. Right now, he's going to be sticking with 3-base saturation, which I do think is good enough. That is on the cusp, on the brink here of how greedy Serral wants to be. As GuMiho does throw down a 3rd CC, but this is so delayed. The double drop is coming in at the 6-minute mark. Does cancel the 4th. At the same time, Liberator does dip into the main base. Serral is distracted. He's going to lose a lot of drones. A very late reaction out of Serral. 6 workers go down at the same time. He's trying to collapse on this drop, but the Queens, they're off of creep. Every Queen is going to fall. The Roaches as well. GuMiho is getting a lot done. Oh my god. Takes down 6 workers, 3 Queens, and looking at the Unisource tab, gets 6 Roaches as well. And that was 4 Queens, not 3. Even a cancel on the 4th. This is already getting... Oh my god, he almost gets another Queen. This is getting out of control. Or it would be if GuMiho had a 3rd base. I mean, that's the other thing I should say. To be fair, even though he doesn't have a 3rd, he has a large army. We have 2 tanks, a large amount of Marines. It's all going to be moving out. A massive push is on the horizon. And GuMiho has set himself up very well for this push. Again, killing all those Queens... We only have 2 Queens left, which means we actually can't even inject all these bases. Serral, he has very limited larva available to him. Here we go, the army is stimming on forward. There is a lot of creep to work through. A lot of creep. GuMiho establishing that 3rd. Maynarding his SCVs over. Is going to be spotted here by Serral. And we're getting quite a lot done. And STV goes down. But GuMiho is getting his 3rd up and running. It is getting operational. Oh, and his tanks are getting caught on siege. 1 goes down instantly. Oh, rough start here for GuMiho. As Serral maintains map control, his 4th base is now back up and running. Infestation bits on the way. Bailey Nest as well. Before that happens, Serral is pushing out with his Roach Ravager. There are a couple of tanks in position. Oof, but one of them gets piled down. The Marine army standing strong against these Roaches. Liberator arriving, not quite sieged. As Serral almost breaks through. It looks like GuMiho will hold on to his 3rd. And he has a pretty comparable economy here to Serral. Because of how aggressive GuMiho was, Serral, it took him a long time to start droning. Now he's finally getting up past 66, getting into the 70, 80 worker counts. But GuMiho, despite how late his 3rd was, again, he forced a big reaction, traded relatively well. still has to be really active. I still want to say that there's still a lot of pressure on GuMiho. He's got 1-1, but he's still working on his armory. His armory is late. His second eBay is late. 2-2 going to be delayed. Unless he does get caught out. Liberator going crazy here towards the south. Getting another 2 drones. GuMiho is continuing to be active here with his army. Again, he needs to draw the attention of Serral back home, force him to keep making army units. While GuMiho's third base gets up and running uninterrupted, very heavily oversaturated. We should be seeing a fourth base momentarily. Should be seeing a fourth CC soon from GuMiho. And yeah, he's made it into the mid game on par with his opponents, but Vipers have now hit the field. The Hive is now done. It's not just Roach Ravager anymore. Now we have Spellcasters, soon to be Banelings, with Baneling speed kicking in. Serral's army is becoming more and more refined. But GuMiho has got a lot of tanks. Does have a lot of tanks. The Biles, oof. Do connect with some of them. Thankfully, they do all survive. GuMiho pushing through the center of the map. Who needs a 4th CC? Banelings looking for those connections. Up. Oh, they connect with the tank, not with the Marines, not with the Marauders. And GuMiho, he is gaining ground. Bit of an anti-timing. 2-2 still on the way for GuMiho, but he doesn't care. He's got his tanks. The Banelings, they come in from behind. The Blinding Clouds do come into play as well. It looks like Serral, he is barely holding on. I don't know if there's enough bio here to really keep this push going. And GuMiho still doesn't have a 4th. Bear that in mind. He's on 5 Raxes, and he may be overextending as the Vipers are coming in once again, throwing down more Blinding Clouds. The Ravagers, they're running out of their buffer. But they bile down that last tank. And as the Ling Bane trickles in, Serral is holding. GuMiho, he does pull back, and he's throwing down a 4th. But again, a very late 4th. Like, this has just been a really aggressive game out of GuMiho. He really didn't want to take a 3rd, didn't want to take a 4th. Feels like they've been afterthoughts. Afterthoughts, even. And as the game goes on longer, Serral, he's about to remax here with Ling Bane. Vipers coming in from behind as well. Maybe a little bit mistimed. Oh! Vipers, they have to be careful. One of them does go down, but Serral, he's able to collapse in this position. Tanks are saved. Oh, God, but those medevacs are taking a beating. Yeah, Serral, he cleans this up. GuMiho has run out of steam. Back at home, he has 1 tank here on the right-hand side. But the Ling Ravager of Serral should break the 3rd base. The Sim City is making things really awkward. It's going to slow Serral down. And GuMiho does hold on to that 3rd. 4th base is being taken. He's surviving. 3-3 now on the way for GuMiho. He will have a pretty large upgrade advantage over Serral. But Serral has the map control right now. He's able to now start investing into his own upgrades. Knocking down the rooks, respreading all of his creep. Rebuilding those Vipers as well. And we'll see if GuMiho can hold on to his 4th base. We can see, like, GuMiho now transitioning into a much more turtle style. He has to just focus on his defense, on holding. Ling Bane is rolling on in. Not the best connections on Marauders, but there are plenty of Banelings left over. They crash into the tanks. They get into the mineral line. Oof. 10 SCVs do go down. At the same time, a big Ling counterattack here at the 3rd base. It looks like GuMiho will take down the main army, but he's losing so much more. Adrenal really coming into play. At the same time, GuMiho almost committing to a big counterattack, but he does pull back, does recognize that he's maybe overextending. And even though Serral did spend a lot of his army breaking that position, his economy's insane. He's on 85 workers, has reached that kind of peak worker count here for Zerg. And from this point forward, he can just max out on Lingbane time and time again. Vipers filled to the brim with energy. They're overflowing, Papi. Oh. And GuMiho's position is just getting worse and worse. Again, we mentioned it earlier, but his third base and his fourth base were more of an afterthought than anything. Big power bombs on the medevacs. And there's just not enough on the ground to protect these tanks. Serral is just going to be able to overwhelm as he chases down the last remnants of the Marine Marauder. GG gets called, and Serral will take game number 1 in a really peculiar game. Like, GuMiho's playstyle was just so offbeat. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's like, when it comes to TVZ, there's a certain tempo. There's a certain flow of the game. When you expect a third base to be taken, a fourth base, a certain amount of production, certain pushes and timings. And what I will say, remember, the first double medevac drop was at 6 minutes. That's like 1 minute later than a regular 2-on-1 drop, I should say. So again, like, everything was really just weirdly timed from GuMiho. Obviously, purposefully so, right? Like, it's designed to be that way, designed to catch the Zerg player off guard and offbeat and off balance. So yeah, that's what made that game really interesting to me. For the most part, Serral was able to keep up. For the most part, Serral was able to muster up enough of an army and make sure he wasn't too greedy and make sure he didn't overdrone, was able to hold on, and that was the name of the game. Just Serral having to defend against the aggression, and then he snowballed out of control. GG. GG, well played. And now we're going to be getting ready for game number 2. But I appreciate it. I appreciate what GuMiho brings to the table. Again, he's a very unique player, very unorthodox, and that's what always makes him so exciting to cast. Always ready to see what comes out from the mind, the brain of GuMiho, of GumiGod, the Tal Terran. What has he been planning up there in the atmosphere, in space, up above, high as ever? I love GuMiho. I love it. We're here to find out. We're here to find out as we are loading on into game number 2. This game 2 is going to be taking place on Royal Blood. The bans from GuMiho make a lot of sense. He banned Altitude and Ancient Cistern, the 2 largest maps in the map pool. They do allow for Zerg players to have more control in the mid-game, in the center of the map as well. GuMiho going for the smallest maps instead. Babylon, Royal Blood, and Dragon Scales. We'll see what he can do. We'll see what he has in store for us here in the second game as we are loading on in. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Terran player representing himself down in the series, but not out. Not yet. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Team Basilisk. One of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. It is Serral. Of course, the most recent DreamHack champion, the DreamHack Young Shipping champion, if you will, ESL Master Summer. Does have that trophy under his belt as GuMiho is setting up here with a low ground Rax. I'm really curious to see if he's going to go for... Okay, I was wondering if he was going to go for the low ground 2 Rax. So GuMiho was one of the few players. Special does this as well, where he goes for a low ground Rax into a factory. Not too many other Terran players really mess around with that build. But GuMiho does whip that out from time to time. This time, that is not going to be the case. It's going to be a 2 Rax instead. Ooh, but we'll see what kind of variation GuMiho is going to be going for. That's kind of the big question here. There's so much you can do. You can go 3-Rax Mass Reaper. You can go into a CC, into a 4-Rax for a big bio push. You can go for a 3CC 2-1-1, very economic. Or even a 3-1-1 variation. All of them provide different advantages and disadvantages, different forms of aggression, require differing responses as well. For now, Serral, I don't know if you noticed, but once again, he went for a pull first. Went for a pull first. He has 2 lanes on the way and a queen already in production, so a very safe opener out of Serral. I mentioned this earlier. He's even checking for proxies with his Overlord. This build opener from Serral is designed to counteract proxy Raxes. So very safe play here from Serral as he's moving out with his Lings, looking for a scout. His Overlords have also been really, really safe. He's avoiding a Marine opener, so he's keeping them here on these pillars. It does mean he has to rely on these Lings for the scout instead, as he does get eyes on the low ground 2-Rax. Meanwhile, the Reaper has arrived, is going to be swatted away for the time being. And the third base of Serral is going to be under threat, as he pulls back into gas, getting 100, and then pulls out. So when you're up against a 2-Rax opener, oh god! As one drone goes, can we get a second? No shot. One drone for now. Already great damage done by GuMiho. Now what I was about to say is, I don't even remember. Oh yeah. When it comes to dealing with these 2-Rax openers, which have 3 Reapers, you do need to prioritize link speed. The faster you get link speed, the faster map control you have, the less damage these Reapers can do. As the third Reaper is making its way across the map, just dealing with those Lings. And now GuMiho, he's transitioning. He does have a 3rd Rax in the main, so he's going to be going for a very bio-heavy composition, of course. As the Reapers, they threaten to dive into the natural, but they will back off. And this will not be a 4-Rax. It's going to be a 3-1-1 instead. So this is less committed compared to a 4-Rax. It does mean you have less Marines, and you transition into your factory, into the rest of your tech a lot faster. Factory, starport, all that good stuff. It does put a little bit less pressure on GuMiho to get damage done. It means he has to be less committed when he moves out, and he can transition into a 3rd base a lot easier, a lot more seamlessly, compared to a 4-Rax. But regardless, there is going to be a big timing here once Stim kicks in, and GuMiho can move out on the map. But again, because of this 3-1-1 setup, he's not going to have as much onus on him to get damage done. I say that, he does throw down the starport before the 3rd CC, so this is actually going to be a little bit more committed than I'm used to seeing. Usually we would see a 3rd CC by now, so yeah, we'll see what GuMiho can get done here. I mean, I shouldn't be too surprised, to be honest. It's GuMiho we're talking about, and he is a very aggressive player, as we saw in the last game, as we saw in Game 2. Does make a lot of sense. I'm going to be shocked if he throws down 2 more Raxes, by the way. Medevacs now in production, as we do have the add-on swap. And we already have a lot of Marines being banked up as well. Back at home, Serral, he has control of his 3 bases. He's going to be able to saturate them, droning up. We've got a lair on the way, Bailey Nest as well. We see that Maru, he isn't cutting corners. If you want, you can be greedy and throw down like Evo Chambers for faster 1-1. But Serral is playing this out very safely. He's going to have defensive Bailings. He has plenty of Queens. The push is upon us, and it is spotted by this Overlord. So Serral, he's getting ready, morphing in those Bailings. And behind this, we're already getting into tank production. Okay. So GuMiho, he doesn't have to push into the 3rd. He's going to be posturing. We should be seeing a scan to clear up some creep. He's going to be threatening. We'll see if he does push all the way in. He has tanks coming in behind this. And here we go. He does Sim on 40. He's going to try to focus down the Queens. Chance users are going to be good enough, though. The Queens, they're trying to stand strong. The target firing on the Bailings. The Bailings are targeted down. GuMiho, can he break Serral here and now? Once again, the target firing is insane. but the Ling reinforcements are just too good. The Medivacs go down, and Serral will hold. This was a big committed push here from GuMiho. Still no third CC, by the way. And because he threw away so many Marines, he's going to have less here with the tank follow-up. This is why I was a little bit surprised that he committed. I mean, I should praise him, right? He traded really well. He did really well for himself. Look at his units lost tab. He got 45 Marines, 10 Banelings, and 3 Queens. That was pretty good. But it does mean that this next wave is that much weaker. We only have a handful of Marines. We still have the tank, sure, but it feels like, for the most part, Serral, he's weathered the storm. As I say that, not quite in position. Marines are pushing on in. The Queens, they do have to rotate around. Oof. Big tank shots going off on those Lings. And we're looking to reinforce. We have a second tank on the way. Can Serral stop this before it gets out of control? Reinforcements are coming. GuMiho, he is expanding. It's a late third base, but it's on the way. He's still getting a third. Serral goes for a counterattack, hoping to punish a third, but there is none. He will be able to come in for a surround, though. As now we do have 2 tanks. 1 within range. Bailing speed has kicked in. Oh, the Marines, they're going to be a little bit trapped. Forced to be picked up. Serral just biding his time, waiting for his moment. Coming in prematurely. Serral, he has to be careful. It looks like he's just giving up. He's giving up on the base. Expanding on the right-hand side instead. And he gets confirmation that GuMiho isn't 2 base all in. He is expanding. Looks like Serral, he may be waiting for these tanks to unsiege. There we go. The unsiege is upon us. Infestation bit on the way for Vipers, Adrenal Glands. GuMiho trying to safely make his way back home. As I say that, massive Doom drop. Could head towards that natural. This is getting his third up and running. We have a secondary force. Thinking about going towards the right-hand side. GuMiho's getting ready for it. I mean, Serral's getting ready for it. And we have a game. Serral just now getting his 4th back up and running. 5th on the way. The Doom drop is coming in, and Serral, his attention is elsewhere. And this base is not going to complete. Lings are going to try to come in first round. Here come the Banelings. Hot pickup from GuMiho. Saves the Marines, but he will lose the tanks. Did at least cancel the 5th. He is working on that next wave. Not the best trade for Serral. Not a good trade at all. Serral, a little bit of lapse of judgment there. Without any Banelings, he throws away a lot of Lings. That was like 40 Lings. Jesus. Serral's in a bit of trouble. Good target firing on that Baneling. We do have reinforcements on the way. Serral suddenly down in the army supply after losing all those Lings. He's going to try and set up a surround. This 5th base, it's never going to finish. Serral instead going for a counterattack. I do appreciate it. SCVs are going to fall. He's even getting on top of the reinforcements. But at the same time, GuMiho may not care. Oh, the Banelings! No! He's not looking! GuMiho was not looking. He takes massive Banelings to the face. And just like that, Serral is holding. The one moment that GuMiho wasn't looking, that was the most important moment as well. GuMiho, he plummets in supply. He loses 15 SCVs across the map and the majority of his army. He's going for a drop. But we have Vipers. We're soon to have Blinding Clouds. GuMiho, he was doing so well. He was doing so well. But here we go. Actually going to be going for abductions instead. Tanks are going to be going down. Ling Bane getting ready to dive on in. And Serral is just overwhelming the army of GuMiho. There's that final yoink. Reinforcements are coming in, but there is no way out. GG gets called, and Serral will take the series at 2-0, continuing his flawless record here. GG. GG, well played. GuMiho wasn't looking too bad. Once again, a really unique kind of outlook on that game. Having a very delayed third, being very aggressive instead, and finding a lot of damage, finding a lot of value. Oh, but alas, it was not enough. I'm seeing even in the in-game chat, some of the casters are like, "Oh, that was so close," and it was. But yeah, sometimes one mistake is all it takes. That's how unforgiving StarCraft is as a game, as an esport. One wrong move, one wrong moment, and that can cost you a series. Can cost you a series. GG, well played. Congratulations to Serral for continuing his flawless record here, his flawless run in the group stage. My condolences to GuMiho as he takes another loss. And these players, oh boy, they're all neck and neck. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we have a PvP between Showtime and Trigger. See you soon.